Las Vegas. Thank you for joining us again here on Realty Check, your local Las Vegas real estate news show. If you guys are watching us, please take a moment, like, comment, share, download, tell your friends. Keep following us. We're across a lot of different portals. If you're listening to us today on one of those portals, if you follow us, you will be notified every week when we have a new show. And today we have a very fun show. Lots of, fun. Lots of interesting news to talk about. I don't know if it's fun news or not, but we have some great guests. We have Randy Garcia with Home Networks Electric and Solar. And Randy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Randy Garcia. I'm from originally California, San Jose. Moved here about 4 years ago. Have an electrical contracting company, both in California and here in Nevada. And one of our major contracts that we have is for Tesla. And we do solar, EV charging, and home energy battery storage.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that because that's something that's very big right now. A lot of people are looking into. And we have Damien Bass. Damien, Keller Williams VIP, return guest. Oh, well, both of you guys are return guests. And Damien, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, I'm Damien Bass, originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Been a licensed realtor for a little over 3 years now with Keller Williams. And wow. Yeah, this market is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's open up with that because this market is crazy.
For sure.
Our inventory numbers, we have just a little bit of a silver lining. We've gone up about 500 over the last couple weeks. Seems really big, but it's not big at all, considering the amount of inventory that we have. So single family inventory right now across the valley is 1,902 homes. Over the last 7 days, we've only had 207 price reductions. Again, those numbers are just crazy low. We're still at about 2.5 weeks of inventory where we can sell out. What are you guys, Randy, you're out there, you're installing solar and working with a lot of homeowners and just out there hearing people around your community. What are your thoughts on what's happening with real estate right now?
What I hear from family, friends, and customers is that they can't get into a house that's priced right, and everyone's trying to compare what they were able to get the house or what they heard they can get the house for a few years ago, and it's nowhere near that, right? And I'm like, you gotta really come out here, see what's happening in the market before you even consider selling, where you're moving from.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. It's a realtor joke that, but it's not a joke. It actually does happen often. It's like someone will call and be like, "Hey, I want a single story home with a pool in Summerlin for $150,000, and I'm like, we need a time machine. Like, it's not going to happen. Right. So, Damien, what are you feeling out there?
No, it's the same thing. Like we were just talking. I have this one client in particular for the last 4 or 5 months. They've been pre-qualified and we've been putting in bid after bid after bid after bid. I mean, over 20 bids we put in with this one client, and they just keep getting beat out.
And they're strong offers, right?
No, they're not weak offers. They're offering cash over the appraisal. Yep. They're offering, over the amount that's listed. So it's like, what more can they do?
Yep. I'm experiencing that too. It's like the offers we're writing. I mean, there was a time when those would have been golden offers. Everybody else better back off, and now they're not enough.
Well, you know what? I just had one. I listed it for $315. It ended up going for $360 with $20,000 cash over the appraisal.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. I have noticed that even the homes that are on the market right now, when we're in that 300 price range, there's some that are, or any home so far that I've seen listed anywhere around the 300 area. They're never selling like under 350 or 360. They're always, every time, when we get beat out on offers, I say, well, what won? And they're like, oh, it's 350, 360. They're paying that much over. Yeah. It's crazy. So it is, it's tough. And those Those are those first-time home buyers. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because that's what's, I guess, so sad about it. It's the people that are established, they're owning homes, they're moving up, they're changing, different types of homes. They're not running into as much of the problem, even though they are. The problem exists across all price points. But those first-time home buyers, it's so hard for them right now.
Yeah, it really is.
So FUD, Inman headlines, which this is, I had to look it up. This acronym is a thing. FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. There was an article that I read in Inman that said that this is really going to have a huge effect on the spring market because I think that, and I said this in a previous show, is I think that we might have cashed in on the spring market a little early here in Vegas.
Oh, absolutely.
Spring started in December.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the FUD is going to be the biggest factor moving forward because with the interest rates just going up, I mean, it can go either way. It can be an influx of buyers, it can be an influx of sellers. So it's like that FUD is going to be the difference. How do people go?
Absolutely. And the cost of everything changing and going up, I mean, people are affected by this.
Correct.
There's no gas. Let's talk about that for a second. This is where I got to talk to Randy because I know he's seeing this. Gas prices. How much has that changed the people from wanting to convert to electric vehicles?
There's been a huge push for electric vehicles. Obviously, gas right now is just at its highest point since decades. However, the only reason why it would stop people from going electric is the electric vehicles are just unaffordable right now. So they're stuck with, having to pay for these existing prices right now. So there's no real way out of it. It's a catch-22. It's either you try and fork up 50, 60, 70K for a brand new vehicle in which people don't have money to buy right now, or you continuously pay, increments of going to the gas station, right? So either way, it's bad for the economy because they have to tighten their belts in other areas, such as food or their entertainment or just changing their lifestyle, which creates a lot of stress on families and relationships and so forth, right? So it's deeper than just at the gas pump. It affects the whole chain.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I'm seeing with electric vehicles is, in some cases, with what you're paying for gas, they kind of pay for themselves. I mean, they do make sense. I know they're back ordered now and they're not as easy to get, but they do really make sense in the long run. But there's something right for everyone. But a lot of these new companies that are coming out, like Chevy just came out with one, or they're coming out with one, and oh my gosh, like the starting price on that for like a 250-mile battery is insane. So I don't, again, it's going to be something that's worked out over time. And not only gas, such as the gas, for our vehicles that's gone up, natural gas has gone up. Like Southwest Gas doubled over the last couple of months, like out of the blue. They said they sent out a notice. I don't know. No one ever read it, but our bills just doubled. But that is still, I feel like that's another incentive for people to go solar. Are you seeing a lot of people that are just wanting to, transition?
Yes, there's a lot of people that, again, want to, right? And in California, where we're originally from, there was a green movement years ago that embraced and adopted going green. And they made that conversion and understand it's just not smoke and mirrors. I get it. Everyone has different ways of looking at solar and the upfront costs because it's pretty costly in the beginning, but there's a return on the investment. Generally broken down about 10 years, there's a payback, and everything after that is money saved, is money earned, right? What we do notice here in the valley is that the ones that are native to Nevada, their income is a lot different than of California's, whether it be the Bay Area, technology market, or Southern California. They're selling their home there and being able to come here, buy out houses for cash, which is nothing. I'm a kid from the east side of San Jose, and I was able to secure my home in 1999. And I was able to sell it for 1.5 million just last July.
Wow.
And that was part of the American dream, is to buy your home and then sell it, which will secure your retirement, right? That's kind of the story of, being able to make early investments, proper investments. Now, my own kids can't even afford homes right now.
Yeah.
This generation, I really am concerned with right now. And, what I see with the market and what's happening with natives from here in Nevada, they're being outpriced and pushed out. That's why I see that there's a deep, I don't want to say hatred, but there is a deep passion for Californians that come here. And either you love them or you dislike them. You love them because you are from here and you do own your home, and they've made your property value go up. Or if you didn't take advantage of your home, they outpriced you. And that's unfortunate, but that's the sad reality.
Yeah. And this is a sad reality that we're seeing right now. We're in a housing crisis. It's just a different type of housing crisis than we've seen years ago. We're not in the type of housing crisis where everyone, can't afford their homes and is losing their homes. We're in a housing crisis where people in this city that live, work, and have locals to the city can't get into homes, can't get into entry-level homes. There's the first-time home buyer is getting replaced with the investor. It's killing the American dream. Not only in Vegas, this is happening all across the country, but we're seeing it on such a high level here in Vegas.
No, that's a big deal. And I've really been advocating to my clients. I can't make the decision for them, but we prefer you go with a regular person over a corporate structure.
Absolutely.
That's just what I preach to them in all of the consultations. It's just, again, I just can't emphasize that point enough. Can't force them to do it, but I'm just definitely nailing, like, please just invest in a person.
Exactly. And these corporations, we know because we're behind the scenes.
Right.
All these people out there, and I preach about this all the time on the show, but these cash buyers are going to buy your house for cash, no repairs, no anything. Even the cash buyers that offer when a home's listed on the MLS, they're out there, they're all over the place. Their offers are not the best, and they're going to try to, they try to finagle things where they drop the price once you're in contract and, start haggling with you on everything. Those are not the best. And it's not only that. Do you really want to live in a city where corporations own a big percentage of our homes? Do you want to live in a country like that? Think about what you're doing, sellers. And they're not convenient. I've reached out to some of my people, like, my past clients, my database, and just, I follow up. I do these, client events, all these different things. And I talk to them and they're like, oh, it was just I sold it to one of those, places, no repairs, no whatever. They bought it 2 weeks, let me stay for 30 days. And I'm just like, really? Why did you do that? And then they tell me the price that they ended up clearing, at the end. And I'm like, do you know how much money you lost? It could have did. Yes, of course, when we list it on the market, that price that they initially offered you might have been our initial list price. But we know you're going to get so much better than that once the buyers start competing.
It's about the marketing. Media marketing, television, radio, and what they hear. They're constantly in their ears.
I know.
So they're pushing this, and that's where they're spending their, I think, like the money that they make, from getting these homes for a lot cheaper than what they could have sold it for on advertising. So they keep that up, and people are like, well, this is convenient. I might as well just sell it,
Well, you know, it kind of reminds me of what happened many years with the manufacturing in this company. When I was a kid, everything was made in the USA. Everything was made in the USA. And then, you know, as the companies grew, they started outsourcing to different companies. And then now nothing is made in the USA.
Yeah.
It's kind of becoming similar with the housing market. They're giving them away to the corporations and stuff. And now it's like nothing's for the regular people.
And then and U.S. citizens will soon not own any homes.
And exactly, just like, you know, nothing's made in the USA.
Yeah.
You don't own. But I saw a commercial, you know, a few months ago. They said, you'll be renting everything and you'll be happy. And I was like, what?
No, I will not be happy. Yeah, no, I do. I think there's something to be said for that. And it's eerie when you think about how deep that could go.
They're planting seeds.
Well,
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I've seen some commercial like that as well.
It was
like
weird. It was super weird.
Yeah, and it is. It's like, again, and I say this all the time, like, you know, if you had a beautiful diamond ring, you could sell it to a pawn shop and they're going to give you cash real quick and it's going to seem easy and you're going to walk away and feel happy about it. Yeah, if you took that diamond ring, you put it in Zell's or a nice jewelry store and it had a presentation and it had the marketing behind it.
But how do you reach your market? How do you educate your market and tell them this is not true? They're selling you a dream and I can get you better. How do you do that?
One thing that I do is and again, it's trying to get the awareness. I'm not on every billboard or in front of people every day, and that's a struggle, you know? So when I do reach out and talk to people, I let them know. I understand if you're considering that because it sounds like a good deal. Let me review the numbers before you sign a contract with them.
That's it.
And so many people, they feel embarrassed, you know, like, I don't want you to be insulted that I decided to go this route. You know, I mean, some people feel that way. They don't want to tell you up front. And I've had some people that actually had called me in the middle of a contract, like, oh my gosh, they're doing this to me and this happened and they're locked in a contract they can't get out of and they're at a point where I can't help them anymore.
You know, it comes to mind about how many like commercials that we see here time after time, like Palopolis and, you know, all these other lawyers, right? And it just makes you wonder, it's like, is this how people are getting, you know, their money by suing other people?
Maybe.
That's kind of shady. Anyways, but my point is, as far as maybe getting a network of real estate agents in order to just put that message out and put it on the media, everyone invest in it and do the same. Program, you know, the media, program the commercials, and educate people. That's the only way to do it.
We're stronger together. That's absolutely right. Yeah, we could. I mean, we have in real estate in our licensing laws, we can't boycott a company, you know, specifically, but we can do awareness campaigns and we could get together. I'm sure the cost of it would be a lot less if we all did it as a group. So we could do awareness campaigns of just saying, you know, why using a realtor is, it is important. You have a person that you're dealing with. You're not dealing with a computer that is, you know, or an algorithm that's going to tell you what everything is and how everything works. So, so another thing that that has been quoted in an Inman article recently is that buyers and their agents, they're losing their minds. They're losing patience. We see this. There's one thing in real estate that is a skill of a good realtor, right? Is keeping your head, you know.
Tell me.
When everybody else is losing it, you're just keeping your head. We're counselors. Do you feel like a counselor sometimes?
Oh my God, more often than not.
Right.
You hear me?
Yeah.
I mean, but these are real people going through real situations. Why would you want an algorithm handling that? They don't care about, you know, you had this spouse that passed or your kid that moved to a different state for college. They don't care about any of that. They care about the bottom line, period.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So-
whatever's happening in your personal life. But yeah, and us staying level-headed and being able to, you know, be the voice of reason when people buying and selling homes in most people's lives is like one of the biggest events that happens. And it can be a very stressful time, especially moving, packing, moving, you know, changing cities. The reason why you're moving is a factor involved. There's so many things that happen. Very stressful for people during this time. And then not to even mention the, you know, when we get into like the probate or the estate sales and things like that, you know, there's so many things that play into it. And we're supposed to be the ones staying level-headed during this. And the market has been so stressful, not only on the consumer, but on the realtor. And that's one thing that people don't understand is how stressful this is for the realtors that are out there right now. They're starting to lose it. And I hear it. I hear the stress in their voice when they're calling with offers, you know, and they're just like, I have this offer. This is a wonderful offer. And it's not enough. Yeah, please do. They tell us all about their buyer. And gosh, you know, but it's not enough and it's not the best. You know, it's so, and there's nothing we can do to change
There's
that.
nothing we can do personally to change it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that is rough. Along with that, so they quoted it. Inman had quoted this as a bloodbath out there for people that are shopping, which is a very creative choice of words. But along with that, there's misinformation. There's misinformation in the whole market. How many people have you heard recently say the market's going to crash and they're just waiting for it?
Well, it's not about what people are saying. It's about what you see, right? Obviously, the market is at its highest. How can you justify the numbers where it's at right now?
Yep.
How can you justify the unemployment, right, that's not working and pumping that back into the economy? The high inflated prices for gas, just everything around you, it doesn't make sense. Those numbers don't make sense. So FUD, right, is real. And be smart with it. Use your gut instinct. That's all I'm saying is if you don't do that, then you can lose all the equity that you've, invested in and paid for over time. So I say right now is a good time. Personally, it's my opinion, but I say it's a good time in order to sell in other places such as California and reinvest and buy property where people are moving to. That's what my dad said is find out where people are moving to and buy there ahead of time before it's too late.
Before it's too late, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And on top of that, it's the, home ownership. Again, I say, when people ask me, every time that a buyer asks me, is it a good time to buy, whatever year, market, time we're in, does the payment make sense to you? Is what you're getting into affordable, not only today, but will it be affordable in next year, the year after, 10 years from now? That's what makes the difference. It doesn't matter what the prices are right now in the market. It matters of, are you going to be able to afford your payment? Are you going to be able to live by that? Can you afford to purchase? If making your payment is taking every dime you have left and you can't afford to live a comfortable life after making your mortgage payment, maybe it's not a good time for you to buy. Maybe you need to save more money to make that more affordable. That really, I think, is the overall factor when it comes down to it. When you get like older or more experienced in real estate, or you own more real estate, that's where you're going to get into like investments and buying things more for an investment standpoint. But when you're a first-time home buyer, I think it really should boil down to what can you make work.
I do have a concern though, and maybe you probably can shed some light on this, but with the current drought right now with Lake Mead.
Yeah.
As a surveyor of knowing like what the resources will be able to generate and be able to cover with the existing population right now, why are they not putting some kind of stop to selling more houses? It's almost like they're just concerned with just pushing more population to come here when our resources can't support it.
I do, and I've heard a lot of people that are concerned about that, of us running out of water. I don't have an answer for that. I wish I did. I have heard I've heard some theory out there that beneath the mountains that there's a lot of water that's untapped and never been sourced for any reason, and we do have more that we haven't looked into getting. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know anything about that, but yeah.
Well, here's my point of it is with the homes that and resources that are limited, maybe putting a stop to building new houses
Yeah.
out here and keeping the existing inventory that we have right now will increase the market value on those, and the value will just go up only because it's limited inventory.
Absolutely.
So you're solving the problem and yet still being able to keep the real estate industry strong by now increasing into higher values. Unfortunately, it might not be good for some, but for the existing, and trying to find a solution to what's happening, because it's not just, his problem, her problem, it's our problem. We live
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah.
Our kids' problems, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think
We have to think for the future.
a certain segment of homes should, go to first-time home buyers specifically, or just, they might have to start segmenting homes in general. Okay, these groups of homes are for seasoned homeowners. These groups are for first time. These are low income.
Reserve.
Exactly. Just this amount is reserved for this specific demographic.
Right.
Demographic.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That might be something we have to look into.
Yeah, and and one of the things I've been saying is that we should have some type of incentive or tax credit that's put out there for sellers that sell to first-time homebuyers.
Absolutely.
should be some
or
type-
locals, people that have stayed.
Yeah.
If you've been in the city for 5+ years, or
Yeah.
whatever the case.
Yeah, that helps the local economy.
Correct.
Because again, where people that work, they work in the casinos, they live here in Vegas, they're industry workers here, they can't afford homes right now.
Correct.
At
And
we
these
need
prices,
them.
they can't
And
afford them.
you need them.
We need
We
that.
need
So
them.
we
this
need
is
to
our
have-
economy here.
Exactly. We need to have housing specifically for those
For them.
demographics.
Yes,
Yes.
and
I agree.
we want them to own homes.
We want
We
them
don't
to
want
own
these
homes.
people
Yeah.
to be
Outprice them.
renters and have
Absolutely.
to, be subject
They've
to
earned
whatever
it.
these corporations and these
Correct.
landlords are raising rents to be.
So now it becomes a responsibility that we have to instill in the real estate agent, not just the greed,
Yeah.
because there's more to a well-rounded real estate agent
Yeah,
that thinks of not only themselves but the community.
Correct.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So with that, the median age of first-time homebuyers is now up to 45. So that has raised due to basically the amount of cash that is needed now
Yeah.
to be able to purchase a home. The amount of cash, the amount of buying power, the amount of credit. It's raised so substantially over the last 2 years. It's pushed up that first-time homebuyer to 45 years old. Again, as I said, investors are replacing those first-time homebuyers in so many aspects. And then back to rent, many U.S. states right now are considering rent control. So as you've been hearing, some rents have gone up $400 or $500 a month in some cases, that people are talking about, and they're expected to continue raising. Some states, such as Oregon, have restricted rent hikes to no more than 7% the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. And the CPI is raising much more over the last couple of years than it has in the past. And there's new voter-approved ordinances in Minnesota that caps rent increases to 3% annually. So we may be reviewing that. A lot of states are reviewing some type of rent cap. So
I'm torn between that, and I understand, and I feel, and I have empathy for the renters. However, where was that for the homeowners when the moratorium was happening?
Yeah.
And there was no kind of programs for homeowners. Yes, they can get into this, the moratorium stay, but that destroys their credit.
yeah,
So, homeowners were forced to pay for their mortgages while their renters got this moratorium on them, right? So,
and then they gave them the money, and in some cases, I heard so many stories where the renters never paid the landlords the back
yeah.
rent. They got
Yeah.
to keep the money and run. That
Right.
was wrong. That should have went directly to the landlord.
there should have been a program all across the board. If it was affecting them on this side of the chain, it should have been a program for the homeowners.
If you're a mortgage or lease payer, it should apply to you.
Right.
Yeah.
So now with rising gas, right? Food, right? You go to Costco, those steaks are now double, right? Whatever it is, it's in context. There's a way to justify why rent is raising. So if you put these rent controls, now you're just handcuffing the homeowners, right? They made that investment initially, so they can turn a profit on this. What's wrong with that? I get it from the standpoint, maybe like you said, there should be selective homes in certain areas where it applies, but it shouldn't be all across the board, such as, you know, Summerlin or parts of Henderson where access is. I mean, there's no reason that you should penalize, you know, the homeowner that made the investment.
Right. I agree with that. So last topic, we have more bad news from Cali, from California, which will, I'm sure, deter more people from purchasing homes in California, which, you know, they don't need more incentive than they already have. However, California is looking into a new bill right now called the California Speculation Act. This is saying that home flippers will be penalized with a 25% tax on flipping homes. So when you look at this from the outside, you say, home flippers, you know, they buy these homes, they flip them, they make all this money, who cares? Who cares what they're being taxed on? You know, some people will say it that way. However, what they're calling home flippers is anybody who is selling a home within 7 years of purchasing. With the average home buyer staying in their first home for 5 years, this isn't home flippers. This is going to affect.
Tax on everybody.
It's a tax on it's a tax on the average homeowner.
Absolutely.
I think that it will murder California's real estate market. I mean, it's just, I feel like it's going to have such a bad impact on it, and it's going to be even more reason why people want to get out of California and come out here to Vegas. So, or you know, come anywhere but California. What do you guys think about that?
Oh no, I agree. It's more of a punishment on the common man. If they would have said, you know, within the first year, the first 24 months, first 36, first 6 months.
Flippers are selling their home within 6
By
months.
definition, a flipper does not even hold a property for that long. That would be a buy and hold.
90
you
days.
Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
90 days.
There's no flipper in America or in the world that's holding for 7 years. So, all right. Yeah.
Well, they're just disguising it because this is their way
That's their way of
digging in.
Well, that's their way of getting it voted for, right? Because so many people vote without reading and researching what they're voting on.
Right.
Sorry, Americans, you guys suck with this, but
my dad said, make sure that you just put no to everything, right? Not unless they start wording it the opposite, right?
Right,
it's like,
right.
Yeah, so many people vote on something, things that they don't research exactly what's behind it. So I'm sure if they see this Speculation Act and the headline is saying, like I read the headline and I was like, who cares? You know, the headline saying 25% tax on home flippers. Most regular people are going to say, I don't care. Go ahead and do that. You know, and I'm sure they're going to give you reasons where that tax dollar is going to go and it's going to sound good. And you think, why not? Again, and then you go into looking at what that is, and yes, that affects you. Most people won't know that that's going to affect them until it does. So that's how these things get through. That's how this legislation gets passed. Read what you're voting on, learn, research, find out the pros and cons. But that's why there's so many things that are passed through law that we don't like.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, it's been a great show. Thank you guys so much for all your input. Randy, how do people reach you if they want to talk to you about anything or get some solar installed or their EV station hooked up?
Yeah, I mean, so I didn't get to finish about solar. Solar is great in order to recap the cost. It definitely is a good thing, an investment. Look into it. If you can save money, I'll be able to examine your bill and size out a proper system for you so that way there's a proper offset. There's a lot of companies out here that's not looking in your best interest. We're a family-owned and operated business, and you know, I treat my people right. So give me a call, and I definitely would take care of you.
Thank you. Damien, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, Damien Bass, Keller Williams. You can reach me on social, Vegas Realtor DB. You can have a local number, 702-439-5640. So feel free to reach out to me.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Damien. And you guys know how to reach me, 702-308-2878. And please, if you're watching the show, download, follow, tell your friends about it. Keep on spreading the word. And we'll see you next week on Realty Check.